Today, I'm sharing an updated, in-depth Canva tutorial for beginners, and you'll learn everything there is to know to start creating your own designs. Whether you want to use it for graphics or short videos, for Instagram, YouTube, other social media platforms, or your blog and website, Canva has got you covered with some incredible tools and features. And the best part, you can use it for free. Once you watch this video, you'll know how easy it actually is to design with Canva. Ready? Let's do this. Hi, my lovely people. It's Natalia, and welcome back to my channel where I help you create better content and grow on social media. In today's full, comprehensive, updated Canva tutorial for beginners, I will show you how to create designs from scratch, plus create video content and animated graphics. Canva looks so much different after the glow up, so I want to bring you up to speed and get you confident with all the amazing functionalities it offers to empower you to really design yourself. As always, it's really intuitive and super easy to use, so I'm sure those of you who are only just trying it out for the first time will absolutely love it. If at any point you feel like this video is too slow or too fast for you, make sure to click the settings icon and adjust the playback speed. I always try my hardest and my best to make it easy to digest for everyone, but it's not easy to cater to all learning styles, so this is my big tip to start off with. And if you can't watch the whole video at once, or you just want to learn a particular thing, I've created chapters for you along with the timestamps in the description, so feel free to jump to whichever segment you like. Plus, a quick announcement, my full Canva course for beginners is coming very, very soon, and it will teach you specific skills in Canva for social media and for business so that you can create designs that people really love. Make sure you don't miss it and sign up on the waitlist through the link in the description. All right, let's go straight to Canva. Now, Canva has a browser version, a desktop app, Android, iOS, and other phone and tablet apps, so you can use it pretty much on any device, even older ones. Today, I'm using a browser version, so I'll go to canva.com, but you can use my link, which you can find here on the screen and in the description box, and it will give you a free Canva Pro account for 30 days, which is 4 whole weeks to test out all the fun premium features, no strings attached. So this is what the Canva homepage looks like when you go to canva.com and you don't actually have an account. And we're going to start with setting up one. So if you go to the top right corner here to sign up, you'll see this little panel appear. And of course, I already do have an account in Canva, but you can, if you don't see this, what you'll be taken to is to continue or to sign up with so many different means. So you see the Google, the Facebook sign up, you can continue with an email address as well. So what I want to start off with is by creating an account by signing up with my work email. You can enter your email in here. It doesn't actually have to be a work email. It's just a prompt from Canva, but I'm using a Gmail account in here, as you can see. So I'm just going to go ahead and click continue. And from here, what you can see is that it suggests a name for you. So what I'm going to say is Natalia Kalinska, which is of course my name, and then I can hit continue just to set up this account. Now, as you can see, the next step is to enter the code that you will be sent to your email address, and I'm just going to quickly pull it up from my email address. Brilliant, that's now pasted and we're signed up to a new Canva account. And as you can see, the first step is to say to Canva to tell Canva what you'll be using it for. So I am a content creator, so I always opt for a small business account. It doesn't really matter apart from highlighting some of the templates for you, but I'm going to go ahead and say small business. Then you can tailor Canva to your industry. I'm in marketing and advertising, so I will select this option. And then to say, how big is your company? My company is currently 2 people, so this is what I'm selecting in here. And which department do you work in? We'll find relevant designs. Of course, there are so many different ones that I will be using Canva for. However, for this one, let's stick to marketing. Then we've got the tools for entry level. What's yours? I'm business owner. In this case, I could pick in here. And which of these work goals can we help you reach? Pretty much any, to be fair. But again, to tailor your Canva account, you can choose whatever you want from these. I'll opt for all of them. And then you see the prompt to enjoy 50% off for Canva Pro for 3 months, which is a current option. For now, I will skip this just because I will be showing the first portion of the tutorial fully on Canva free account, no Canva Pro, free trial, nothing like that. I want you to experience Canva as it is as a free account. And then right probably around an hour, maybe an hour and a half mark, it will be left down in the chapters. I will then claim the pro trial and you will be able to see what the pro account looks like. But for now, it will only be a free account. So I'll skip this one and voila, you can see in here that this is what the free account looks like. And here we've got marketing and advertising templates, just because this is the industry that I selected at the very beginning. So this is why Canva is asking all those questions to tailor that experience for you, especially when you're just beginning. Now I'm going to just click off this banner at the top so it doesn't distract us. And at the moment, I want to go through what the homepage looks like because there are so many different moving pieces, especially after the glow up. So first and foremost, you've got this left panel in here as the first step. And in this left panel, you'll be able to access all the most important sections of Canva, let's say. So this is your homepage, of course. And then next you've got projects. So anytime you create a folder or maybe you create a new design, it will be accessible from the projects tab in here. And this is your organizational heaven, let's say. So this is where you can organize your uploads, your files, anything that you need in your account. It will live in the projects tab in here. And I actually have a video fully on organization. So please do watch it after you complete this first tutorial. But for now, I don't think we need to pay too much attention to it because, of course, we need to populate our Canva account first. Then we've got the templates tab. The templates tab is where you find your specific templates that you're looking for, whether it's for your business, for your social media, for, video marketing, print products, anything of that nature, you will be able to find here. And this is actually a really great page to go to if you're looking for something specific, but don't have a specific keyword in mind, for example. So you can see from here that you will be able to access all the different types of files. So you can go for flyers, for resumes, invoices, all those types of things live under the business tab. Then you've got social media, so you can see the most popular platforms and the different formats that you will be able to access from here. And then for my educational folks, you can see the subject, the grade, the resource type, so many different options under these templates in here. And of course, if you scroll down through here, you will be able to see the templates that are curated by Canva. Currently, they're showcasing the Canva design trends for 2025. So just to get inspired, you will be able to just click on any of those and find something that you're looking for. As you can see in here, Canva highlights the logos for me in here. You've got the holidays with the Disney templates in here. Then you've got the Instagram posts and square ratios, presentations, so many different options in here, but we'll get back to templates in just a moment. Then you've got a brand, which we'll skip for now. We'll cover them in the Canva Pro portion because it's Canva Pro only feature. Then we've got apps because Canva has tons of different apps and integrations. It connects with so many different tools to use and also has apps that allow you for that creativity to really flourish. So you've got gradients, you've got different music apps as well. So you can see so many different options in here, but I'll show you within the editor where they also live. And of course, last but not least, there's the Dream Lab. This is the Canva AI feature where you will be able to describe an image in just a few words and generate something spectacular, which is fantastic for when you're brainstorming or you need some fresh ideas. Okay, let's get back to the homepage. We've covered this first panel in here, and then you can see the secondary panel. Of course, we've got the Canva logo, which acts as a homepage in a way that if you click on it, it will take you back to the homepage. Then you've got the Create a Design button, which I'll cover in just a second because we'll be starting a completely new design from here, then you're prompted to upgrade to Canva Pro. And then you can see to get started with Canva, you can learn the basics, craft presentations, brush up on social media. So these are different prompts that you can use to start learning with Canva. I'll click this off for now. And then you can see in here that you can start designs and folders to land in this section, and then recent designs. Again, we'll cover it once we have something within our Canva account. Now let's take a look at this middle section in here. You can see that it's the biggest portion that it takes on the screen, but I'll start with the top right corner, and this is where you can access your accounts. So this is your account switcher. You can manage different accounts that you've got and you've selected. As I've mentioned before, this is a new account that I've set up just to show you the completely free Canva, but I also have my own Canva account that I use to show you all the different tutorials as well. And you would be able to switch from here. You will be able to create a team. So there's a Canva Teams account type as well, which allows you to work with a few different people, or actually tons of different people if you want to, but it allows you to seamlessly collaborate. So you can create a team from here. Then you've got your settings, news, plans and pricing, purchase history, design school, which is fantastic for learning. I know in my previous tutorials, I've mentioned the Learn tab, which is sometimes accessible from the homepage. But at the moment, if you want to go to the kind of Learn tab, the design school is a great option in here. And then you've got the referral codes, the suggestions for improvements and things of that nature. Then this is your notifications panel. So whenever you collaborate, or maybe you share a link to someone to comment or something, you would be able to see those notifications in here. And then a quick access to your settings from here as well, where you can actually dive into this section and start changing the settings as you please. Then right in the middle, there's the search bar. So this is a very important part of Canva. You will be able to search your own content, as you can see, and Canva's content as well. So for example, if I wanted to create something like a yoga post, for example, I could search for this like that. You can see that it suggests search for yoga posts. It suggests different types of designs. So in here, you can see there's a double-sided A3 landscape yoga poster, and it actually gives you the dimensions, yoga flyer, for example, but I could go for something like yoga Instagram posts. And if I click on it, you can see that it actually searches so many different types of templates in here. And you would be able to search through your content as well if you want to, because if you do have something with these keywords in the name, you would be able to access them from here as well. And you can see designs, brand templates, folders, all those sorts of things. So you would be able to really search for anything from this panel. Now, if I go back to the homepage, you can see below that we've got this part. This is where the magic really happens, because this really showcases how powerful Canva is and how many different types of designs or docs you can actually use within Canva. So you can see that the first option is to create a doc, to create a whiteboard, which is kind of an infinite scrollable design that you can use literally as a whiteboard to just ideate or to work on certain things, or have sales meetings in, for example, on Zoom, and collaborate with your friends or colleagues. Then you've got presentations. So you can, of course, create amazing presentations. And Canva is definitely a tool that I use all the time for presentations, because it's just so much better than any other tool that I've ever used. And then you've got social media. So let's click on social media, for example, because you can see that docs, whiteboard, and presentations, if I clicked on them, they would take you straight into the editor. But if you go to social media, of course, social media is not just one thing. You've got different platforms. As you can see in here, you've got the most kind of popular types of designs, types of dimensions. I never use Instagram posts in Square because we're now using it in a different dimension. But you can see the popular social media templates in here as well. And you would be able to pull up different things. So for example, if I wanted to search for something like YouTube banner, for example, I would be able to access it from here. So this is a great way to look up the platform that you're creating for, or look up the type of a doc. And even if you don't know the dimensions, Canva will suggest them for you. So this is a great option in here. And apart from that, you've got videos. So you've got a classic kind of horizontal video, then the mobile video in here, Facebook, Instagram. These are the different dimensions, and it will suggest the different templates for you below. And then print product, products as well, for business cards, for invitations, flyers, and labels, and things like that. And then also we have websites, because Canva allows you to create websites. And then you've got custom size, which I'll click away in here. You will be able to see the custom size in here and the upload in here as well. Apart from that, you've got make me an image, write my first draft, resize any design, remove backgrounds, because Canva, of course, as any other app at the moment, is powered by AI. So there are so many different features that really allow you to help with your creativity and allow you to really let it flourish. So you would be able to access it from here as well. As you can see already, there are so many different ways in which you can actually create a new design, but I want to show you the most classic way, and this would be through the Create a Design button in here. And of course, it opens up the same thing, so you would just as well be able to just click any of those. Now, what I want to start off with is a custom size. Now, again, Canva suggests so many different dimensions for you, but sometimes you just need to enter something that you want specifically. And I know exactly what I want. I want my Instagram post in a portrait form, which means I need 1080 by 1350 pixels. So as you can see, I can just hit create a new design. I can also change units, because if you need something in inches and millimeters and centimeters, you would be able to change that from here. And you can also lock the aspect ratio from here as well. But as you can see, because Canva is so developed, it understands exactly what you're looking for. So it suggests that it might be an Instagram post in 4:5, which is a portrait ratio that I might be looking for. And this is exactly what I am looking for. So I will just click on this, or I could just go and create a new design, which takes us to the editor. And this is what the editor looks like. Now, it may be a little intimidating at first, because when you've not really designed anything in Canva before, it may feel like a lot of things are going on, but don't worry, I'm here to tell you that Canva is a really intuitive tool, and you would be able to really start designing from scratch very soon. And I'm here to cover all the different aspects of the editor. So this is what we're going to go through. Now, as you can see, with any new account, Canva always gives you little kind of prompts and snippets and tips. So you can start with a template in here. You can see, the text box, the upload your own images. We'll cover all of them in here, and then share and download at the very end as well. So this is what it looks like. You can see that in the middle, we've got our canvas. So this is our 1080 pixel by 1350 pixel canvas, and we would be able to start designing from here. Now, what I want to start off with is by explaining the top panel. Now, if I click on the top panel, you can see that I can open the menu, which opens up these two kind of panels from the left side, if you remember from our homepage. So after the glow up, Canva really understood that sometimes you need to really access all the other projects or things of that nature at a glance. So you would be able to just open that new menu from here. Then we've got the file. So at the very top, this is where your name is. We'll cover it in just a moment. Then you can create a new design from here completely. You can upload your files. You can change the settings to show rulers and guides and margins, print bleed. So for printing, this is quite a useful thing. You can also check your design accessibility from here. Then you can see that all the changes are being saved. So this is one of the most important parts about Canva. As long as you have access to the internet, Canva will always keep saving your progress, which means you never lose things out. So you can check it in here. As you can see, we're in the file tab, and you can see that all the changes are saved. But this icon in here also indicates that. So if ever you see that this icon is changing, Canva tells you that this is not being actively saved, probably because one, there is no internet connection, or because there's something wrong with Canva, which doesn't happen very often. Jumping back into our file tab, you can move this design into a folder. So again, organization is very important, especially when you're starting out. You're, designing, you're excited, you're learning new things, you're trying different templates, and very quickly Canva can become a bit of a mess. So this is a part of my own workflow. I always jump in, and whenever I jump into a new design, I always first change the name of my design with different keywords so that I always can search for it very quickly. And also I move it to a specific folder before I even start designing. So this is a part of this process that I've got for myself, and I highly recommend you do that too. Again, just to not end up with a very messy Canva account. Then you can make a copy of this specific design from here. You can download it very quickly, and there's a version history for Pro. You can move it to trash. You can find and replace text in here, and then you can suggest improvements from here. Then we've got the Resize button, which we'll cover in Canva Pro, and then we've got editing, commenting, and viewing. So you've got 3 different types of interacting with your design. So if you're ever invited into a Canva design to collaborate, say, you would be able to maybe access it by commenting, but not necessarily editing. So this is a great way to just change between the different types of work within Canva. But I'll show that to you maybe later on. Then we've got the undo and redo section. So you will be able to always go back and, go back a step or a few steps to change what you've just done. And as I've mentioned, this is our all change saved button which indicates that everything's being actively saved. Now, the next thing is our name. As you remember, we've got the name in the file at the very top and also this panel in here. So what I'm going to do first is to rename my design, again, in line with my own workflow and to instill those good practices from the get-go. So we're going to say Instagram post promo for event planner, because this is what we're going to be doing for this tutorial today. Then you can see who is actively in this design. So as you can see, I'm the owner and this account is the owner, but from here you would be able to add people with access to this particular design. So you can add names and groups or emails if you've got them kind of linked in the Canva account, but you can just type in an email and share it with someone. So for example, if you're designing something for a client, you would be able to just easily add their email in here, and then maybe they will jump in and leave some comments to add that feedback, which is super important. Then we've got the analytics, which is a part of this whole big Canva ecosystem. I don't want to dive too deep into this because it's a little too extensive for a Canva for beginners course. But at the moment, you can see in here that these are your public view links and social media traffic and things like that. So if you're ever sharing your design externally to different sources, you will be able to see from this analytics panel how many people clicked on it and things like this. Then this panel in here shows you how many comments you've got and what comments were shared in here, and you would be able to filter through all the different types. So if someone mentions you specifically, or if you've not read something, or even all the resolved comments from your design, you will be able to access them from here. And the last one is your share button, which is where you download, where you share your design, where you print it with Canva as well, as you can see, and you can see all the other options. So you can copy your design to a clipboard, you can save to a folder, you can send it to your phone as well, which is something that I use a lot. So we'll cover the share button once we finish designing. You can see how many incredible ways to publish your design there are in Canva. Okay, then we've got the bottom bit. So at the very bottom, you can see that we've got first this quick action in here. This is our magic assistant. So if you click on it, you will be able to quickly pull up the different features and maybe sometimes even, elements and things like that that match your specific design. So you would be able to, this is your little assistant. This is where you go for something very quickly to search for something, especially in the very beginning when you don't remember where certain features live. This is a great way to quickly pull them up, and you pull it up by either clicking on it, or as you can see, it suggests a / as well. So you can quickly access it this way. Then we've got notes, which are especially important when you're doing a presentation. So within your presentation, every single page that you create in your design, you would be able to add notes to it. And it's also sometimes useful for designs as well, especially if you're only fleshing out your idea and you need to describe something quickly so that you remember what you want to get back to when you come back to a specific design the next day. So this is a great option that you always have notes that you can add. And then in here, you've got our zoom, like this. You can see the indication of how many pages and which page you're on. And then from here, you can see that you can change the zoom manually to a specific number. So I can go to something like 125. If I want to zoom in specifically, I can go to fit just like that. But also if you go to Command or Control on Windows and use the mouse scroll, literally I'm just scrolling in and out at the moment, you can see that this is an option to zoom in and out of your design as well, which is super useful. And then you've got the thumbnail view, which means that you can change from a regular kind of a scrolling page. So let me just quickly add a page. From a scrolling page like this, you can also change to a thumbnail view, which means that you've got access to the preview for your pages. And you can also click duration then, which changes to almost like a timeline. So you can change it into a video, let's say. So even though I've chosen the option to go for an Instagram post, which will be a static graphic, if I ever needed that to change into a video, I would be able to do this, but I'm going to just go back to my classic scroll view from here and actually delete this page in here as well. Then the next one is our grid view. So from here, this is something that I really love and use a lot. And this allows you to access all of your pages of the design from a whole kind of thumbnail view. So this is your preview option. And I love it, especially if you're creating something longer, if you're creating a planner, maybe a lead magnet, for example. So you're creating a workbook, say, you will be able to see all the pages at a glance, which is a fantastic way to always know what's going on within your design. And at the very end, there's present in full screen. So you enter this full screen just to be able to see the preview of your design fully, but also you can see the pages. So if I just click on this, you can see that I'm changing pages, even though there are 2 blank pages. So you won't be able to see much, but you can see all the different options for presentations in here as well. I'm going to exit full screen. And then at the very end, you can see the Ask Canva button, which means you access this little assistant as well, which is a different assistant from this one. But this is where you can actually just, ask for something specific if you cannot find something. And this little help center, let's say, will help you find it or answer your questions with specific articles. Now we've covered the top and the bottom. I want to also cover the middle section. So what's happening with the canvas. So first we've got the page, and you can actually title every single page of your design from here. So if I wanted to say, hey one, let's say, but I don't know why, but hey one, that's going to be my name for my first page. You will be able to add that from here. And you can see that if I scroll down to my second page, which I added just by clicking add page from the bottom in here, I would be able to title it hey two if I wanted to. Then you can see that these sorts of things appear if I have a next page. So you can see that I can move this page down. Let me just quickly change the color so that you can see what's going on. So you can see that you can change this one, change the places, and you can see by the title as well that now page 2 is called Hey 1. So you can change it from here. Then you've got the hide page option, which means that if you jump into the full screen, this won't be shown when you're presenting. You can unhide it. You can lock this page so that it doesn't get deleted. You can duplicate this page. So you can see that I've gone a second one with the same name and the pink background as well. You can also delete the page. And from here, you can also add a page. And as you can see in Canva, there are always multiple ways to do the same thing. I'm just going to delete the color in here just to get back to our blank canvas. And the last but definitely not least is our left panel, which is arguably one of the most important parts about the Canva editor. And this is where you actually access all the different types of features and elements to start designing your own graphics. So from here, as you can see, if I go to that left panel and only hover over the icon, you can see that this panel appears and it disappears when I just kind of scroll away, if that makes sense. If you ever wanted to stick, you can just click on it and you can see that it now became whole. And this little X appears that if you ever want to have more space to design, it doesn't matter that much if you've got a vertical design, but if you ever have something horizontal, sometimes you want to have a bit more space, which Canva gives us in this case. So this is how you change between these 2 different options. Now, the first option is our design tab, and this is where you can access the templates. So you remember from the homepage, we had the templates tab. This is an equivalent, but it only shows you the templates that are in the specific dimensions that you've chosen. So again, we've got Instagram portrait ratio posts. So it will only suggest the types of templates that are fitting for this particular design dimension. Now, from here, you would be able to search for something. So again, I've mentioned before yoga, you would be able to pull up all the different yoga templates from here as well. And it can be as specific as you want to be. So let's say yoga retreat, maybe we'll have something specific in here for yoga retreat. And you can see in here that it suggests, I think these are mostly posters and maybe flyers as well. So these are a great option if you ever want to pull something up only for this specific dimension. And again, sometimes you feel like you jump in, you want to design something from scratch, but maybe you feel like you need a bit more inspiration and you don't want to start from a blank page. This is a great option for you in here, and you would be able to find the different templates in here. Now, one thing that I want you to pay attention to, especially that now in the first portion of this tutorial, we're only doing Canva free, so the free account. So something for you to be aware of is that some of the templates are actually pro-only templates. So as you can see, this one is completely free to use. It doesn't have any indication as to this being a pro asset, but the second one in here is actually a pro feature. So you would have to upgrade to pro to be able to use this premium template, or you would have to pay for it at the very end. But I don't think it's very cost efficient. So just for you to pay attention to it if you want to stick to the Canva free, which is still an absolutely amazing option. And you can see that it so happens that on the left side, we have the free templates, and then on the right, we have the pro templates. And there are always any feature or any template, any element, it will always have this crown indication that this is a premium, a pro asset. So Canva Pro will always indicate that this is a behind a paywall, let's say, and this is what it looks like. So you can see with the resize or with the brand as well, it's indicated by this yellow crown icon as well. So something for you to pay attention to. Apart from this, you can also search for something specific by a color. So if you've got something in mind, say a yellow yoga retreat poster, you can search for it like this. Or if you're looking for a specific language, let's say Polski, I don't know why I say it like this, but Polish is actually my mother tongue, my first language. So this is what I can, search for. They don't have anything specific for yoga retreats, but maybe if I say yoga in a Polish way, you can see that there are only Polish templates to be found in here this way. So this is a great way to access those templates in different languages as well from this panel. And I can see that the second option in here is to actually use the styles as well. So you can create your own brand kit, which is again a pro feature we'll cover later on. But in here, what Canva does is that it understands that sometimes it's very hard to start designing from scratch when you don't have, especially when you don't have design background. And Canva is all about making design accessible for everyone, which means that it will suggest different things throughout your designing process. And this is one of those. So you've got the suggested pre-made combinations for fonts and for colors as well, which is a fantastic way to just access professionally designed palettes and also font combinations, which takes away a lot of this stress of, am I doing something right? Am I designing professionally enough? This is a great way to access those different color palettes and font sets as well. And I'll show you this in action in just a second, but you can see that I've just clicked on the text and it just added those text boxes in here as well for me. Now let's move on to the elements tab. So, I realized I've not actually shown you how to use this templates tab. So for example, if I like this one, I can just click on it and it will apply this template to my canvas. And this is what it looks like when you start with a specific design in mind. If we go back to yoga, let's say, I could just click on this one and you can see that it adds all those different elements for me. So it means that I never have to start from scratch. But of course, this is a full Canva tutorial. I want to empower you to actually do it yourself. So we're going to design something completely from scratch as well. Now let's move on to the second tab, which is our elements tab. This is where all the different elements and shapes live. And this is where you can find those assets that Canva offers for you. Now we can see the image generator in here. You've got the sticker, you've got photos and videos and audio as well, because Canva is great not only for static images, but also for videos and animated posts as well, which means it goes hand in hand with audio as well. Then you've got charts, you've got polls and quizzes, we've got tables, frames, grids, mockups, collections, so many different assets within the Elements tab, and I'll go through it in detail in just a moment. Then we've got the text. So this is the text panel where you can, again, access different font combinations. As you can see, they're pre-made for you, so it takes away a lot of that stress. And these actually, a lot of these use the little fun effects as well. So if you're ever, if you're ever feeling like you don't have the inspiration, you can just click on them. But you can see in here that it just added this free combination of fonts in here. You can see this is a grouped element. Again, I'm getting ahead of myself in here, but this is insane how much incredible design inspiration you already have within the Canva app. And then you've got these added text box and magic write option. And then you've got the brand kit as well, which is a pro only feature in them. But the brand kit with logos, colors, fonts, brand voice will set it all up for the Canva Pro portion. And then you've got the uploads. So from here, you would be able to upload your own assets, and you can also record yourself as well. You can see in here that you can just drag media in here to upload or to connect your account. I actually have Unsplash opened, which is an aggregate of free and premium photos. So what I would be able to do is to just copy that image. I know it's free to use, so I would be able to do it like this, and I can literally just paste it in here, just like that. And you can see that it starts uploading. So not only can you just drag and drop something literally into your uploads file or onto your canvas, but you can also copy and paste it on top of your canvas. And this is how incredible Canva is in that regard, that it always allows you to do things really, really easily. And this is how you upload your own assets. It works for images, for videos, for audio as well. So if you have your own recording, maybe you've recorded a voiceover for your video, for example, you would be able to just drag your MP3 or your video or anything else into the uploads folder or into your canvas and then start designing with it. So this is an incredible option. Apart from that, you might have seen before that it actually prompted you to not only drag and drop, but you can also use Google Drive, Dropbox, or Google Photos. So you would be able to just connect your account with your Google Drive and pull stuff from there as well, which is incredible because sometimes we all keep our assets in different places. And if it's easier for you to access them from there, this is a great option as well. Then we've got the draw panel, which is incredible. And especially if you're working on an iPad or maybe sometimes on your phone and you want to just quickly draw something, this is an incredible tool because sometimes you just need a little squiggle or something that it would allow you to draw on top of your canvas. And you can see in here that it literally allows you to do that. You can change the colors in here. So if I wanted something like that, I would be able to do it. We also have, apart from the pencil and the marker, we have the highlighter in here as well. So something semi-transparent in here, it would allow you to add in here. And we also have an eraser that allows you to erase it completely. Now, if I'm hitting Command Z or Control Z if you're on a Windows. Just to get back to it, you would be able to just undo it and redo it from here. But as you can see in here, that if I click on it, it becomes an element. So this is what I absolutely love about the fact that you can draw and then almost treat those as elements as well, which is incredible in Canva. And you can also change the weight and the transparency of any of your pens, and you can see a little preview in here of what that looks like in here and how thick or how thin you can make it. So this is what the drawing tools look like in here. If I just go back and remove those. That would be great. Then we've got our projects tab. So this is our, again, headquarters. Remember the projects tab from the Canva homepage? This is how you access it from the editor. And this is an important part because from here, you would be able to create folders. You would be able to access those folders, access those different images, and you should always be organized enough so that you can quickly pull those different assets that maybe you've uploaded from the different folders. You can see that from this tab, you can search your content, you can search all projects, your projects, and stuff that's been shared with you. And then you've got the different sections. So you've got designs and folders and images. So all of them live in here. And the more you upload, of course, if you have audio or video, these tabs will be added in here. So you will be able to access everything. And then from here, you also have the start folder. So anything that you really love within Canva. So say you've got an element or template that you really loved. I would just jump into this. For example, I can always click on the three dots and start them from here. So let's say I'm going to do it from here. If I now go to projects and go to start, you can see that it now lives in here. So if there's ever something that you really love and it inspires you and maybe you want to get back to it at a certain point, you will be able to do it from the projects tab. So this is how you can access it as well. And then we've got the apps. So from the apps, again, as I mentioned before, there are so many different options in Canva, different features, different apps that were created specifically in here to help you with creativity. So you would be able to access them from here. I don't think I'll cover too many of them apart from the most popular ones like Mockups in here, but you can go ahead and explore. It would be impossible for me to get through all of them because there are so many different ones. They're free, they're premium as well that you need to pay for. So I've got different videos for those apps as well if you want to check them out later on, of course, after you've learned how to use Canva. Amazing. So we've covered what the editor looks like and we're ready to start designing our very first graphic. So as you can see, I've already uploaded an image. You saw what it looked like. So once it uploads and I copied and pasted it, it literally got added to my canvas, but I can just delete it and I'll show that to you again. So if I go to uploads and just literally click on this image, it will get added to the canvas. Now, what you can see in here is that when my element is selected, it starts looking a little different. So first of all, when we're in active selection, so if we've selected a specific element like this image in this case, you can see that it becomes purple around. So you've got this purple thicker border around it. And you can see that this means that this is now selected. Now, if I wanted to select a background, I can click on it and you can see that now I've got this little border around the whole frame, which means that my background is selected. So this is how selection works. Now, as you can see in here, once I click on my image, there are different options that appear in the contextual menu. First, we've got this top, which we'll cover in just a moment. And secondly, we've got the secondary little pop-up, which means that we're changing something specific for this particular element. Now we can add a comment to this particular element. So let's say I've got a whole graphic design and, a client comes in and says, I don't like this image. They can actually comment specifically on this image. They don't have to comment on the whole design. They can just click and add a comment specifically about this photo, which is incredible and is great for collaborations. Then you can lock the element, which is fantastic if you don't want to move it. So you can see now that I won't be able to actually select it. I would have to actively just click on it and then unlock it to be able to move it around like this. And then you can also duplicate it. So if I click on it, you can see that now I have two of the same images. If I ever want to delete it, I can just click delete just like that. And then you've got more options in the right click panel, which is also accessible from three dots like this. So if I click away and I right click on the image, this is what it shows me. So you've got copy and paste and duplicate and delete again, but then you've got the alignments. I can align it to the left, align it to the right or to the center. And same goes for the vertical alignment. So you've got top, middle, and bottom as well, which is fantastic because Canva always wants you to know what you're doing with your assets, and this is one way to access it. Then you've got show element timing, which is specifically for videos, and we'll cover it when we design a video. Then we've got links, so you can actually add a link to your designs. Then you've got lock again, alternative text for accessibility. You can set this image as a background again. So if I just click on it, you can see that it just jumped into the background, and now we don't have this element in here. It actually lives as the background, so I can just detach it from the background, and this is where it goes back to the frame like it was before. And then I can also click apply colors to page, and this is a fantastic way to just pull from your image and to be able to just get these color combinations from this particular image and apply it to all the different elements that we would add on top of it. So this is what it looks like. Now, one thing that I want to show you is how to actually resize or crop an element. So as you can see with my element, with my image, you can see these round circles around in the corners, which really help us to resize. So again, just as you would with any other program, it would give you the option to resize like this. Or when you go to the sides, which are more kind of like these rectangular bubbles, I can just do this and it will allow me to crop, which is a great way and a very important distinction to know as someone who's only starting with Canva. So again, to resize corners, to crop sides. So this is what it looks like. Now at the very bottom as well, we have these little arrows, and these are for rotation. So this is a great option to always be able to position the element exactly how you want it. And this is one of the options as well. So you can always rotate as well. And then if I move this element around, as you can see, we also have these different lines. So whenever you see a solid line like this, do you see this middle solid line? This means that this aligns to a specific part of your whole design. So you can see that this line goes all the way through the middle of the design. So that means that we're perfectly in the center. And now the same goes for this vertical line. If I align it perfectly in the middle, that means that this is exactly centered the way we would like, for example. So this is a great way to be able to find your alignment. And this is how Canva helps us to do so. So if I want to make sure that this is aligned like this, I would be able to change it like that. As you can see, when I snap it to the side, these lines appear as well. And sometimes you see this kind of middle portion as well, which means it's aligned to the margins. And that's a great option as well if we always want to leave a bit of a breathing space around our design. Now, what I want to start doing is to actually grab this image and show you what you can do with specific images in your Canva account. Now, it doesn't have to be an upload because this is an upload. I can also go to the Elements tab in here and actually pull up any other photo from here, which I can do right now. So at the very top in the search elements, you can search for specific keywords. So let's say I want to say party, and from party, you can see that there are so many different assets that have that keyword. So I can go to graphics, say, so these are the stickers or the static elements like this that would allow me to start designing. So something like this, for example, I would be able to just add to my design, and as you can see, I've resized it. Or I can go back to maybe photos. So you can see that these are different photos in here. And I would be able to choose something that I like. So say I like this party image in here. So I would be able to just add it to my canvas, and it would behave exactly the same way as my uploaded element would. So you can see that I've selected the background, and now I've selected the photo, and these have the exact same options at the very top, which we'll cover at the moment. So when you go to an image, the first thing that appears at the very top is the edit image option. So if I click on it like this, you can see that it pulls up this whole image panel. And from here, there are so many different options. So first, we've got the Adjust tab. And what I love about the Adjust tab is that it's really, really potent, but not many people know about this. So again, we're covering it straight from the get-go because I want you to start off on the right foot, and I want you to be, empowered to know about all these amazing features. So first, this is where you can actually, as in any kind of photo editor, you would be able to change the temperature or change the tint, for example. And here you can see that it's actually quite a good photo to show you this. Change the brightness, change the contrast through these sliders. So you've got so many different options in here. You can change the vibrance just like that, or the saturation. And then you also have the color edit. So I would be able to just select one of the colors that Canva identified as kind of the key colors of the photo. And I would be able to then change the hue and the saturation to just completely transform that image. So imagine that my brand colors were not maybe purplish, they were a bit more bluish. So I would be able to just change that hue in here very, very easily, which is a fantastic option. And then you've got the color edit for these little kind of yellowish off yellow options. Of course, it affects the skin tone as well. So you can see that sometimes it works, like in the case of this one, and it makes absolute sense, but sometimes it doesn't with this particular option. And you can always go back and change the brightness. And here you can see that these kind of bluish or greenish bubbles I can actually change from here as well. So this is a cool option. And then we've got the texture and for sharpness and clarity. So if you ever wanted to make your image a bit sharper, so say it would be blurred like this. Now you can see that I've just blurred it. You can up this sharpness a little bit, just make it a little bit more crisp. Another thing that I absolutely love and that not many people know about is this whole image versus foreground or background option. So because Canva is infused with AI, it can really help you do different things. And this is one of those great things. So for example, if I wanted to separate the foreground from the background, I can just click on it, let Canva do its magic. So actually analyze this particular image. And from here, I would be able to just change the brightness only of the foreground. So of our actual object. So I can just add a bit more contrast to it. Again, I don't think it's the greatest photo to showcase this, but I could just change the saturation. Or maybe this is a cool effect that I wanted to add, that I've got this purple background, but only my object, only the hand with the glass is actually being changed, which is a fantastic way. So this is our foreground options, and same goes for the background. I think I'll go back to the saturation just to show you what it can do for you. So even if I felt like maybe it's a little too purplish for me, I can maybe tone it down a little bit, and you can see that the purple around the glass, just because glass of course are transparent, it just doesn't change the color, but with the saturation it just changes the background only. If I go back to my edit tab, apart from the adjust tab, we also have the Magic Studio. These are only pro features, so we'll cover them later on, but you also have filters. So from here you can see that I've got pre-made filters from Canva that you can click on to change the vibe of your photo. And maybe you've got multiple, so you can just use the same filter for all of them to be able to get the same kind of editing style. And you can change the intensity from here as well. And if you ever want to get rid of any of those, you can always scroll back to none. The next section is the effects section, and this is where we've got different apps pertaining to images, so to our photos. So the first one is adding shadows, which is such an important part of any design, I feel like, and there are actually so many different options that Canva gives you. So not only can you add a glow effect, which I would have to change the background in here, so let me just quickly change the background. I'll show you the color options in just a second. So let's say something like this, and then if I go to edit the shadows in here to the glow, I can actually just change it to something light. So you can change the size like this, and you can change the blur amount just like that to make it kind of seamlessly blur into the background. You can see in here that if I change it to white, I can change the intensity from something very, very delicate, barely noticeable, to something very intense in here. So everything around Canva really works with sliders. So I would be able to add a drop shadow from here as well. You can see that we've got the blur amount, same thing, angle in here. So you can change the angle of your shadow like this, and you can change the distance, the intensity, and of course I can change it to something kind of dark purple, just like that. And it completely changed the way this shadow works. So this is a great option. And again, you've got the angled option, the page lift, the curved, you've got presets basically. You've got this backdrop in here, which is super cool. And you can also blur it a little bit. So this gives you the power to really change change the nature of your shadow or your glow. There is also this great option for outline, especially if you've got your own photos, for example, and you want that kind of almost a YouTube style outline around your image. You would be able to just do it, something like this, let's say. So you can see that just gave me the outline like this around my image as well, which is also a great option to use our shadows like this. But if you ever want to remove that shadow, you can always jump back in, because all of these effects are always editable. So you can jump back like this. You can see that now I've got this preview with the sliders in here, which means that this shadow effect is already activated. So this is an indication that you're actively using it on this element, and you can just go back to none, just like that, to completely remove this effect as well. Then we've got duotone, which is basically like a recoloring app, and you can see that I can change the highlights and the shadows, the color in here, to create a maybe more of a fun kind of effect in here, just like that, and you can kind of recolor them in a fun way. Then you've got blur, which sometimes you need something a little bit blurry. Maybe you want a part of the image blurred. So for example, something like this, if I just kind of select roughly this part, and I'll just increase the brush size from here just so it's easier. You can see that I've just blurred a part of the image. You can always remove it from here as well. And apart from that, we've got the option to blur the whole image, so you can just change the intensity for the whole image, which is sometimes very useful, because sometimes you just want to overlay some text on top of it or use that as a background. Remember, when we attach the image to the background, this is what you would be able to do with it, just to have that kind of slight blur running throughout your whole image. And you can always remove that blur from here. And if I go back, you can see that jumps back into it. So as you can see with these different effects, with the blur effect, for example, just gave us a bit more of a preview. Then we've got autofocus. And I think, again, with autofocus, it would be great to just show you on an image of someone. So let's say maybe I want a dog, actually. Let's search for something in here. I want something a little bit more detailed. So maybe something like this. We've got this lovely, cute puppy in here. And if I jump back into edit and I go to autofocus, you can see that, again, Canva just takes its time to analyze the image, and then it will give you the option to blur the background, which is also a great option to give that more of a professional look to it. And you can see that it changed those sliders for you based on the image already. So you already know that it gave you the kind of the most perfect way of intensity for the autofocus. But of course, if you want to give it more intensity in here, you can see that I can do that in here. And you can also change the focus position. So you can see that if I just slide this particular slider for focus position, it changes which parts of the image are being kind of affected or highlighted. So you can see that I've changed this focus point to this, but if I ever wanted to go like that, I could obviously blur in front. The more intense you go, the more unnatural it's going to look like, because of course it's not how optics work. But if I go and just change this, you can see how beautifully blurred this background is, and it's actually quite impressive how well it looks. So this is a great option to give that bit more of a professional look. Let's continue on. Now we've got the effects, we've got this section covered, then we've got the apps. So from here, you can see mockups, image upscaler, shape cropper, so many different options. Now, I'm not going to go through all of them. I highly recommend you test them out and check out what you can do with those. But just to show you some of the power of these apps, you can do kind of fun liquefy effects. You can melt your image completely just like that. It can wobble. So this can be used for more maybe creative backgrounds. Sometimes I use this particular app for backgrounds as well. And I can always cancel like this. And then the image upscaler is fantastic if you've got your own uploads. There may be old photos, and it will just upscale them for you, make sure that you get a better quality out of them. So you've got different options in here. Now, we've covered the edit panel in here, so you know how to access the filters, the effects, the apps, and the adjust app. But apart from that, most of the different images also have the options to add different options from the top panel as well. So you also have the option to add a border, which adds it inside of an image. And as you can see, once I change the border weight, this panel appeared in here. You can also do a dashed or a dotted one, just like that, or a solid one. And then from here, you can see the color for the border appears as well. And this is actually a color panel, which I think is quite a useful thing to cover at this moment. Of course, this pertains to specific borders, but as you can see, this will appear throughout your Canva journey. Let's say you will be able to see the document colors first within the color panel. And now you can also search for something specific. So if I entered a hex code in here, I would be able to start using it. Hex code is literally a 6-digit color code, which is very useful if you've got your own colors, brand colors with a specific hex code. So you always know that you're using your colors consistently. So at the moment, I've got the black and the kind of purplish color in here, but I can also add a completely new color from here. And you can see that I can add either a solid color or a gradient. So from here, you can just use it like this and basically just search for something that you like, or you can enter this hex code as I've mentioned before. So I've got this hex code in here that I can just use in here. There's also a color dropper from here. So if I click on it, and I would be able to just literally select a color from a different part of an image, or even the borders of Canva Editor as well. I can use that green from the account preview in here. So you can see that this color dropper really works great in here, or you can add a gradient in here. So if I choose to go to the gradient panel, we can see that now I have 2 different gradient colors. So if I added another one, I can keep adding them like this just to have more variety. And you can change the color like this as well and create a more of a gradient-y option in here. And you can change the style as well. I think it would be more visible if I gave you something lighter, so you can see that it just completely kind of changes the positioning of the gradient. Of course, I can change the positioning of the gradient colors as well, so I can just drag and drop them like this. And again, if I wanted to keep adding different colors just like that, I would be able to do it from here as well. And you can see that the rendition of the style of the gradient changes considerably based on my own colors. So know that this is an option as well, but I'll go back to the solid color for this one in here, and I'll go to white maybe in this case. And apart from the colors for the document specifically and adding a new color, there's also a photo color section always. So whenever you add an image, either from your own uploads or from the Elements tab, you will be able to see the preview of the most kind of key colors that Canva identified from the image, which means that you can just tie the whole design together by using these colors from here. And you can see that it literally corresponds to these little kind of bowls that are springing out of this glass in here, which is quite a useful thing. Very often, if you're looking for something, maybe, I could use that color as the basis of my text, for example. This is quite a cool thing. Then you've got a default colors section, which means that you've got kind of the run-of-the-mill regular colors that you would be able to use from here. And then you also have a section for gradients as well. So I could just literally use that from here as well. And then at any point, if you want to tweak it, you could always jump back into this color wheel in here and just keep changing it in here as well. So I'll just go for white as a border in here. And you can see that if I select my background, this background color appears at the very top as well. So I would be able to access the same kind of color panel from the very top. And this is how you use the colors in the Canva app as well. Now I could just search for my specific keywords that I want to use for that one. So this is maybe the background color that I will be using as the basis of this design. And I would be able to just completely search for it based on the particular hex code. And again, remember that you can always go here and actually paste it in here as well. So let's say this was maybe 5.6, something like this. I would be able to just pull it up this way and use this element like this. So this is how the colors work in Canva. Now jumping back in here, you can see that I've added the border because it all started from the border. You can change the style of the border in here, or you can completely remove it if you wanted to. The next option is our corner rounding. So you can, for all the media, for anything like videos, images, any of your uploads, you can change the corner rounding for your elements in here, which gives you a bit more of a softer feel, just like that. So you could add add this little frame in here as well. Of course, it does work with the border as well. So if I added this white border around it, it would absolutely work in here as well. Then you've got the crop options. Remember that apart from using this option to crop, you can also use this top crop in here. There's a smart crop, which analyzes using AI. It analyzes your image and chooses the best crop for you. You can also change the aspect ratio from here, or even rotate with the crop like this. You can see that just completely changed the vibe of it within the specific frame in here. Then you can flip. So from here, I can just flip it horizontal or vertical, just like that. If I ever needed that hand to come out of the right side instead of the left, I can flip it like this in here. And then you've got transparency. So you can always drop the transparency of your image just like that, as you can see. So I went to about 40%, but you can make something a little bit more transparent, which is again, fantastic and a very useful tool for so many different types of effects. Now, apart from that, apart from the transparency, we also have animations. I'll cover animations when we get to the portion of designing where we change our graphic into an animated graphic. But know that this is here and there are so many different options to animate your specific element. So remember that I've got this element selected and this animation pertains to this particular element. So just to show you an example, I could just like literally brush it on like this and it would just completely change the vibe of my whole design, but we'll cover it in just a moment. And then we've got the position option. This is actually something that is very, very useful. And from here, you can see that you've got two sections. So if I click on it, this panel appeared. And you can rearrange or change the layers. So first in the Arrange tab, you can see that I can send my image to the front, completely to back. Of course, we've got two elements only, so I can only do so much with these two. But this is what you can do. And then remember the right click when I had the Align to Page options. All these options also live in here. So I can completely center my image just like that, or send it to the middle because it's the different types of alignments in here. And then you've got advanced positioning options. So you would be able to rotate to a specific degree from here, or place it specifically at a regular pixel that you want to send it to. Of course, these are pixels because I've chosen pixels as my dimension unit. However, if you chose an option for a new design with inches or centimeters or millimeters, these would be shown in here. Apart from that, we've got the layers section, which is a visual representation of kind of the first portion of the arranging. So I can literally just drag and drop repositioned layers from here, which is a super cool option. And also sometimes when you have multiple different layers in your design, sometimes it's just easier to access specific things when they overlap and you don't necessarily see them below. And then apart from position, we've got this little brush icon in here, which is for copying a style. And I feel like this is one of the features that it's really underutilized. I really love this feature. I use it a ton, but not many people know about what it does. It's the same thing as you would use in, Word or Excel. Maybe you can just copy the style of a particular image and just literally transpose it onto a different image, and this way you would be able to have the exact same styles applied from your original image to your second image as well. Okay, I'll just delete this image. So like this, I can just go to delete, or I can literally just hit backspace when I have this image selected, and we're left with this particular image in here, and we can start designing using different shapes. Now, I've covered images. Now I want you to know what you can do with different shapes, because of course, apart from just the image, we also have different options for shapes. The classic shapes like rectangles or circles, they're very useful for designing. And as you can see, when you jump into shapes, you can see the different options that Canva already has for you. And now if I click on a shape, you can see that it adds it with a specific color that pulls from your design already. So it actually just chose this photo color from here. I would be able to just jump into it and actually change the color. I've got this kind of color that I want to use in here. And as you can see, shapes have a bit of a different contextual menu than images. So you can see that with this one, we have the edit option, we have the animate in position, things like this. These are pretty similar, but if I jump into here, you can see that there's actually a different option. So if I select edit on a specific shape, you can see that it takes me to the shape style, and I can just change the shape completely like this. So I would be able to just use any of these presets in here, and maybe I want something like this to as the basis of my little element in here. Then next, you've got the color panel in here. So you can see that from here, you can change the color just as I've done before. You've got the border, which would not, maybe it would work in here, but I don't want to add it. You can always remove it from here. Then you've got the corner rounding, as I've mentioned. So instead of a harsher line like this, I could do something a little more kind of melted, let's say. So it just rounds the corners of your shape ever so slightly. So I'll go to something around 10. And as you can see, if I click in the middle, a text panel appears. So I can literally start saying start maybe in here, and this is where my text panel appears, and I've got all the different options that I would have if I were using a text box, because every shape that you add can contain a text in them as well. I don't want to use text in my shape in here at all, but know that this is an option as well. And that's why this middle section in here is so different from an image, because an image cannot really contain text. You would have to add a text box separately, but for a shape, it can. So apart from that, you've got the transparency again, the animated position. So you can see that these remain the same. And then kind of the first portion of the contextual menu changes in here. So I'm just going to add this little shape in here, maybe skew it ever so slightly, and start repositioning my whole image in here. So maybe I'll just pop it like this and maybe crop it ever so slightly just so it fits in here. And maybe I don't want that corner rounding. Maybe I will add a little bit, but not as much, and hide the corners in here just so I've got something, let's say something like this in my image for now. If you double click on an image, you can also change the positioning of the crop, because of course I've used the sides to crop the image, but that also gives me the option to then reposition the image within that crop further. So if I wanted to maybe have a bit of that hand sticking out a little bit more, I would be able to change it. So double click, and that's how you see the preview for the crop as well. Okay, amazing. I've got this element in here, so you know how to add images, you know how to upload your images, you know how to add shapes, but we can go to elements further. And actually, you can see that in here, I don't have any other shapes. So maybe I want to search for something like a cookie shape. I'm not sure if I will be able to find it in here. But if I go to the graphics, so this is an element that I'm looking for, maybe I'll be able to find something in here. Maybe I'll go for something like a blob. The blob is quite an interesting thing to search for. And maybe I want something a little bit more abstract like this one to use within my design. And I actually like this kind of greenish color, but of course I've chosen something that is a pro element. So I would have to go back and maybe choose something like this. Let's say this is something that I like, but what I could do also, because I like this green color, I don't want this particular one. If I go to color and I still have the other one added, I will be able to just jump into color and quickly change it into it and then remove this one completely. Now I could always jump back into color and tweak it ever so slightly, just like this, or again, use a hex code to stay on brand if I'm using something in particular. So I could just do it like this, and maybe I can just rotate it ever so slightly to maybe, form something like this, a little bit more abstract, just like that. And now, as you can see in here, some of the elements in the library are actually editable because they are vectors. So there are different types of, I don't want to, overwhelm you too much, but there will be some elements that are editable. And maybe for something like an illustration, let's say, let's look for an illustration in the elements tab in here, something like this, for example. Of course, because it's an image, you wouldn't really really be able to change the colors. So you can see that for certain elements, you will be able to use them, but for certain, you will not. So you can see in here that even though this is a minimalistic one, it's got 3 different kind of layers, if that makes sense. So I would be able to just change the colors for all of them. So maybe let's change them to something a little bit like this. And you can see that I can change the colors for these images. However, not all of them will have that option. So please do bear it in mind. Sometimes it can be quite frustrating if you want something to really match the vibe of your whole design and you wouldn't be able to change it without it. And as you can see, because it's a graphic shape in here, I can jump back into it and use the filters in here, use the effects. I would be able to add shadows on top of that in here with the shape, with the size in here with the sliders. So all of these apply to it as well. Now, apart from that, of course, I could jump into AI image generator if I wanted something specific, but I think I'm fine in this regard. But if I go to the photos and to videos in here, if you scroll down through all those sections, you also have frames and grids. And this is another thing that I want you to pay attention to, because a lot of the templates will actually contain frames and grids for you to be able to superimpose different images on top of. So if we go to frames in here, you can see that these give you all the different options to actually insert an image into them, into a specific shape. So it just molds your image into it. I've got something funky like this, maybe like a badge, or maybe something like an arch. I could also search for frames in here. So I could just go for something like this. Oh, maybe I like this one quite a lot. And now I've got my image in here. I would be able to just drag it on top of the frame. And you can see that this just pops up inside this frame and it just takes the shape of this frame. Now, what it does as well is that if I go back to elements and if I wanted to use any of the different photos, so let's go to party in here at the top and go to photos, and I'll just, choose any of the examples in here. I would be able to just drag that image on top of my frame in here. And what it does is that it literally inserts that image into the frame, and that means that I can use the same shape below to be able to use those kind of fun effects below as well. And you can see that I can do the same thing at the very top. And if I ever want to detach that image, I can right click and do detach image, just as I have done with the background in here. I don't know if you remember it, but we've done it at the very beginning. Also, the way frame works as well is that if I liked this shape in here, I would be able to just fill it with color, just like that. And instead of using this blob, I can just delete it and use the frame instead of it. So this is quite a fun way to use Canva and to be able to have the different shapes that we want to, apart from the regular kind of shapes in here. If you can see like a regular frame, you've got retro frames, you've got letters and numbers. So you would be able to be as creative as you want to. You can see that there are, devices in here. You can enter something into a laptop. You've got triangles. So many different options with different overlays. So play around with the different frames and know that sometimes when you use a design, for example, from the template, so let me try to find something in here. For example, if I go for something like this, and I detach an image, you can see that below here, if I detach both of them, these are actually frames in here that were used to create the basis of this template. So if you ever see this little landscape with a cloud, know that this is a frame or maybe sometimes a grid, and you would be able to use it like this. So we've got our frame here at the very bottom. We've got our frame here. We've got our element. I want you to also know that there are grids. So grids are a bit of a different vibe. Grids can be great if you're creating maybe a vision board, for example, or you're creating a collage. You can just click on any of the grids and it will get added to your specific dimensions. So you can see that even though these are square, if I click on them, they will fill the whole space, and you can actually use this grid to create the basis of your design as well. So again, let's go back to party, and I would be able to just enter these images into my grid just like this to create a little grid style image arrangement. So this is one way to use grids as well. Amazing. We've covered the images. We've covered a bit of the elements tab in here. You can see all the different options with frames. Now I want to show you how to use text within Canva, because it's such an important part, of course. If you go to the text tab in here, you can actually add a text box by using this purple button in here, or you can just literally hit T when you're adding something, when you've got your background selected, and this is what your paragraph looks like. So you can just add a heading like this, or you can just hit T and it will add a piece of text as well. Now, as you can see in here, at the very top, you've got the text options in here. So this is very similar to our shape. What you do to change the text is to double click and to actually change it. So I'm going to say vibes in here, and you can see that it completely changed the text. Now, if you just select it once, you can see that the classic kind of borders appear, and what you would be able to do is to just change it. But if you want to change the text, you always need to double click just for that bar to appear, and you can start typing like this as well. Now, I said vibes in here, and as you can see, just because it behaves as an element, I can still resize it from this position in here. I accidentally locked it, but from here at the top, you would be able to also change the font size as well this way. And you can also type in something in particular here. So if I wanted this to be super big, I would be able to just type the specific number that I'm looking for as well. Apart from that, we've got the font options. And now if you click on this part, the default would usually be Canva Sans, which is a font that's been designed by Canva itself. And now if you click on it, you can see that there are different document fonts in here. You've got the brand kit, but you also have popular fonts in here. And then if you scroll down, you see the whole library of different fonts that are available to you. Apart from that, you can see these styles. So you've got handwriting, corporate, display. You can go for something like elegant, for vintage, bold, different options for you just to find a specific vibe of your particular element. And as you can see, if you just scroll through, there are so many different fonts available that are completely free for you. I would just maybe choose this one. There are still some pro fonts only that will be available to you if you have a paid account. But you can see how many options there are for a non-paid account, a really, really wide variety in here. Apart from that, we've got the text color options. So if I just select my whole text and go to text color, I can actually just change the color like this, or I can just go for document colors, and I want to use this particular color in here. So you can see that the more colors I add to my elements, they will be retained in here. So if I ever wanted to just, keep experimenting and see if there's anything that I could use from here that would work with my design, I could just use it from here. Or again, I could use something from the image as well, but I want to go back to my hex code I want to use for this one specifically, and I can just make this a little smaller like this. There's our options to bold, to go make it italics and underline, to strike through, and to make it uppercase or lowercase. Of course, I've used uppercase images in here. So what I want to, I'm getting ahead of myself. If I ever wanted to just change things up, I can also stretch out this text box and actually maybe change the alignment to justify it, to align it to the right, to the left, or to center it. What I can do with the text box is to actually hold this element and actually duplicate. But the other way of using Canva, and this is quite an important way, is to use shortcuts, because the more shortcuts you use, just like in life, you sometimes get through things quicker, and you want to be as quick as you can with designing. By the way, I have a video on tips to design faster, which is, I feel like, a great one to watch after the organization video as well. So I'll link it down for you below. But the shortcuts are one of the greatest way to actually start designing faster. And this is why I'm trying to incorporate it in here as well. So apart from duplicating by just selecting and clicking duplicate, you can also hit Control D, and that will duplicate this particular element for you, or Command D on Mac. Or I can just select my text box and then hold Option or Alt, so Option on Macs or Alt on Windows, and then I can just drag it and it will duplicate it for me as well. And don't worry, because it's not just for text. I could actually just use it for my shape as well in here, or use it for a frame even. So it doesn't just apply to one specific type like a text box. It's very universal shortcut in here. And of course, the classic like Control X, Control V, Control C, all of these work as well. So please do use shortcuts as much as you can because they really speed you up. So I will change this text in here to immaculate. Just to show you the different options in here. I'm just going to stretch out this text box because, of course, I want it to be bigger. And then apart from that, I'll just maybe make it smaller so you can see everything. And I want to show you what it looks like to just change everything to uppercase. And I think this is quite a useful thing because sometimes you just don't want to retype everything. So you can go and change to uppercase like this, and you will be able to just get it changed automatically for you. Now, as you can see, apart from the solid lines that appear that indicate the positioning of the element, now that we've got more different elements, you can see that it actually also shows you these dashed lines in here. I'm not sure how well you'll be able to see it. I'll try to zoom it in for you, but you can see that now this actually shows us these dashed lines, and this indicates what the positioning of your element is in contrast to the other elements. So for example, in here, you can see that I've got my solid line for the general design margin, but also you can see that the little dash line appears next to my vibes, and it goes all through both of these elements, and that indicates that these are now aligned. So to the left in here, you can see that they're both aligned like this. So for example, if I'm just making this a little smaller, you can see that this now almost snaps into place with the line of my frame below in here. If I drag it a little bit higher, you can see that it just gets me to the vibes side, so to the right side in here. If I went all the way up, you can see that it goes through to the green element. So this is how Canva shows you the alignment in context of the particular elements in there as well. So this is one of the great ways to actually add text and add different elements as well. And we've got immaculate vibes in here. And let's say you want to add another text box just for fun. So I'll just hit T, and you can see that now, because it knows I've used this particular font, it will duplicate this font as well. And it says your paragraph text in here. And now what I want you to pay attention to is actually how far away these lines are from each other. So this is, if I could share one tip, is that something that I really see with the beginner designers in Canva when someone starts to use Canva at the very beginning, what tends to happen is that these lines get retained. So one thing that I would definitely do is to adjust the spacing of the lines as well, which you can do from here as well. So apart from, again, our text color, the bolding options, the uppercase options, the alignment options, there's also a numbering option in here. So if I wanted to number these, I would be able to do it from here. There's also a spacing option, and you can see that we've got letter spacing, which literally spaces the letters out as much as it can. There's a line spacing in here, and this is something that I really want you to always adjust. Don't make it as spaced out. Now, I didn't want to go to immaculate vibes for fun in here. What I'm going to maybe say is in every detail, just like that, and stretch it out like this, maybe align it to the left. And I want to actually completely change the font for this one. So let's change the color first. I'm just going to go for this hex code, and I want this particular text to actually be a script font. So I'll just select all of it and go to my font at the very top. And maybe I can go to handwriting in here. I could also say script, let's say, and it will give me different options for script fonts. So you can see that the suggestion is cursive as well. And let's add the last piece of text in here just for my body text. Of course, this became very big, so I could also, as an alternative, just go in here and add a little bit of body text in here. So you can see that just gives you a bit of a different style in here. And let's reposition our whole design a little bit just so that everything feels a little bit more cohesive. I want to make sure that this is aligned to the left and not actually centered. So yeah, I'll go for this font because I really like this font. It's a more minimalistic font, if that makes sense. So I'll just do it a little bit like that and maybe reposition it ever so slightly just so that everything fits on the page perfectly. Yeah, let's say this is the basis of our design. It's not perfect, far from it. I would definitely work on it a little bit more, but this is how you kind of design and reposition different elements. So we've covered photos, we've covered text, we've covered shapes. I also want to show you some more effects that you can use with your text as well. So as you can see in here, we had these options. We still have transparency, animate, position, and copy style, but there's also the effects tab for text boxes specifically. Now, if you go to the effects, of course, just like with images, we can add a shadow. So you can see that in here, I would be able to add a shadow and change the color of this shadow. There's a bit of a lift if you need a little bit of that differentiation from the background as well. There's also a hollow effect, which I really like for certain styles. There's splice, which gives you not only this hollow effect, but also this kind of fill. And you can offset this fill to make it look a little bit more funky. You can change the direction as well and the color inside as well. There's an outline, so you can add that same kind of thickness to it as you would around an image. There's an echo, very self-explanatory. There's a bit of a glitch with the 3D effect in here. You can see that you can change the direction and the colors to reddish as well. And there's a neon as well, which I really love. And it's quite a loved effect in Canva that you can add a neon effect. Of course, it doesn't work as well in here, but imagine having something a little bit darker as a background and then adding that neon effect. It really stands out. So it's quite a cool option that we've got these. And apart from that, we also have the background option in here. It shows something a little delicate. So I'll just show that to you with the green, just so that it stands out a lot. You can see that it just adds this box underneath just to change it, and then you can change the spread and change the transparency as well to something a little bit more like that. Of course, I wouldn't be able to just push it to the back like this, just so you can see this kind of background outline a little bit more clearly, but I'm happy with having none of that. And apart from that, you can also see the shape styles as well. So not only can you add the shadows, but you can also change the curvature of your text. So you can actually create waves and circles and little arches with it as well, which is quite a cool option if you ever want more of a funky effect. Let's say we're done with this one. I also want to show you some other options in terms of positioning and in terms of what you can do within Canva to make your life a little easier. So there are two things that I want to show you with this one. Now, as you can see in here, first of all, we've got this kind of panel in here, and they're not really greatly aligned in terms of these boxes in here. So what I want to do first is to actually show you how you can select all of these boxes underneath. Notice that I've not actually selected any of the text boxes on top of these kind of rectangles. But when I go to position here, something that I absolutely love and I use as a shortcut a lot as well is the option to space the elements evenly. So remember when we were looking at alignment for different options, you could see the top, the middle, the bottom. But if you have 3 or more elements together, Canva actually gives you the option to tidy up. So that means that it will just help clean up the alignment for all of them. So you can see that I seamlessly just clicked and all of these went to become a little bit more aligned. So let's say I will just misalign all of these elements. And as you can see, if I just select all of them, so I'm literally just selecting one, then holding Shift and then clicking on the different elements. So now I'm using the text boxes and not the rectangles underneath. If I go to position again and go to tidy up, you can see that it all just tracks beautifully and it gets aligned for me perfectly, which is absolutely something that I love. And you definitely should be using a lot of it as a Canva user, because again, Canva is here to help us with this alignment. This is one way to always make sure that all of your elements are nicely balanced and designed. And this is what differentiates differentiates beginners from people who are kind of professional at design and really understand the principles, that all of the elements of the same quality, let's say, so like these stars or like the rectangular boxes in here as well, they should be aligned evenly. And this is what this tidy up feature really helps you do. So now if you select all of those, you can see that I don't have the option to tidy up because they've already been tidied up. Everything's nicely balanced. So what I could do now is also group these elements as well, to group them together so that now it becomes one cohesive element instead of all of them being a little different in terms of their sizes. So you can always go back to ungroup as well. Now, the other thing that I want to show you is actually the Mockups app. Remember when I said to you that I would show you how to use the Mockups app? I want you to now pay attention to this because it's absolutely amazing. You know how sometimes you need to be able to represent your design or an image in different ways to make it feel a little bit more real life? Well, this is why Mockups app is a godsend and it's also free to use. So what I want to do for this design is to actually incorporate a little smartphone in here. So I can just go ahead and go to smartphones. You can see that you've got, home and living, outdoor graphics, you've got watches in here, different products, but I want a smartphone for this one. So I can just go into it. All of them have this little frame that I've shown you before that is actually representative of the fact that this is a frame, but it's a mock-up, so it's a bit of a more advanced frame. And now I want to fill it with an image. So you would do exactly the same thing as you would do with images, with the frames. So you can just drag and drop your image onto it. Now, I've got a specific image in mind, so I'll just go to uploads, upload file, and go to this particular image, and I will let it run, and then I can just drag and drop it onto my frame. You can see that it started thinking. So it just now seamlessly added it into my smartphone mockup. Another thing that I want to show you is that shadows in this case would not be available because obviously it's a mockup. So it's a very specific thing that you can do in Canva, but it doesn't have the options as you would with the frames. Remember when we had this option in here to add the shadows? Now we don't have that option in here, but fear not, there are always different ways that you can do the same thing in Canva. So I can actually go to elements and go search for a shadow. And from here, you can see so many different elements that actually represent that shadow in here. And I would be able to choose something that I like. Let's say this is something that would be a basic one, or maybe this one I can use in here. And I can just make it ever so slightly smaller. Try to align it in here. Maybe I want it to be a little angular. Okay, again, I would spend a lot more time on it, but let's say this is what I want to do, and I can just drop the transparency ever so slightly to create a bit of that shadow in here. I want to make sure that you understand that if we're using links, they will not work unless you're downloading it as a PDF. So let's say I want to add a link to this design in here, and maybe I want to embed it on my website or something like this. You would be able to use it that way. However, if you are using an image and you want this to go on Instagram, I know it's an Instagram post, so this would not work on Instagram, not only because on Instagram you can upload images as an image and maybe MP4s, but none of these formats support links. And also on Instagram, if you upload anything, it gets stripped, so it wouldn't work anyway. However, I just want to show you that an option to link something within Canva is available. However, it would not work with traditional options like your regular JPEG image or something of that nature. I just want you to know that this is available here, especially if you're maybe doing a presentation or you're sending it off to a client and, they would be able to grab that link from here through that presentation or maybe through a PDF as well. So say you're designing something like this and you're sending it as a PDF to someone, you can link things in there, but not as an image. Okay, so now my little disclaimer is out of the way. I can just click link. So as you can see, I've selected this particular image in here, and I can, this particular text in here, and I'm just adding a link through this option. So what I can do is I can actually link pages in this particular document, but I actually have my own my own link in here. So I'll just say Canva because this is my link to the pro trial of Canva in here. So I can just display it as a link, or I can embed it and I can just add it in here. Now, as you can see, something happened and it didn't completely select it. So what I want to do is to delete it. This is how you can delete it. And I can actually, again, link it up like this, paste it, hit done, just like that. And you can see that it now has that underscore underneath it. So if I remove that underline from here, you can still see that it's linked in here and it would be absolutely clickable if you choose a PDF option, or if you choose to send it as a presentation, or maybe within Canva itself as well, because there is an option to do that too. So if you want to download your image, you can go to share in here and then go to download in here. Now from here, what you can see is that I want to use my page number 1. And from here, you can see that I can choose all the different options for file types for downloading. So as a file type, it's suggested MP4 video simply because I've previously used some of the stickers in here, animated elements, and that's why it wants me to export it as an MP4 video, which means that all of my animations would be rendered. But this is not what I would be going for in terms of this first design. So I would download it as an image. So I can choose JPEG or a PNG, which is my go-to whenever I post on social media, because it's lossless. Actually, it's not compressed as much as the JPEG would be. So I would go for PNG in here, and you can see from here that you would be able to just select a specific page. So as I've mentioned to you before, I've just chosen page number 1, and I can just hit download and it will start downloading below. Now, what I want to do next is to actually add a pro element in here, just to show you what it looks like when you're trying to download something with a pro feature in it. So let me just go to this photo very quickly. I go to share at the top, go to download, and then as a PNG, page number 2, current page. If I hit download, you can see that it says your design contains premium content. Unlock our entire content library of over 100 million elements, 2 premium elements. One of them is one of the pro fonts and the other one is an image. So it always indicates what you can do in that regard. So what the premium elements were. So you could go back and actually swap them out for alternatives that are free. It prompts you to upgrade to Canva Pro, but you would be able to also purchase the Pro content license in here. Now, this is in Thai baht because I'm in Thailand at the moment. So it actually shows me this in this currency. However, if you're in the UK, it would be in pounds. If you're in the States, it would be in dollars. If you only need these elements for one design, you can pay for this license once and you can click on it and then link your PayPal, link your credit or a debit card. Now, another thing that I've promised I would show you is how to actually create an animated design from it. So what you can do is, as I've mentioned before, to add animations. So first we've got text animations. If you select text, I'll select all 3 text boxes because I want to animate them the same way. And then you go to animate at the very top. You can see that from here, you've got all the different options for animation. So you can see ascend, you can see shift, you can see merge in here, block, you've got burst, so many different fun options in here that you would be able to use just to make your whole design come to life and add a little bit of motion to create that visual interest. There are, of course, specific ones for text. There are specific ones for images as well. But let's say I want to just go for block in here. You can see that I can change for this to animate both on enter and on exit, or individually just on enter or just on exit. So let's say I want it on enter only. And as you can see, as a pro option, you would be able to change the colors for your blocks. You would be able to change the direction like this maybe, or something like that. But I'm sticking with the classic just because it's enough for me for my free account. Then if I go to animate this shape in here, I can go for something like rotate, for example. Now, I would normally probably speed it up a little bit, but you can also add a bit of a flicker in here. And actually, let's go to the party elements in here. So if I go in here and go to graphics, and if I go for animated graphics, this is one way to also add a bit of that motion into your image a little bit. And just to add a little bit of that fun effect, just so that you can create something a little a little bit more interesting. Like, again, I would not necessarily maybe add this one, but let's say this is something that you want to add, so you would be able to do it. And even for this one, which is so incredible, you can change the color as well, which is so cool. So you can see that this adds a little bit of motion. And now if you ever want to play it, what you can do in here is to actually go back to that thumbnail view. Remember when I show you the thumbnail view, and then you can go for duration. You can see in here now that this will play if I put it on the timeline like this, and you can preview what it looks like in here. And again, just from a very simple static graphic, we've created an animated post that you would be able to then download. And again, if you want for the animations to render, the only file type that supports that in Canva, if you go to share and then to download, is actually the MP4 video. So this is suggested in here, and this means that this will show all of your animations in here. So if I now go to page 1 again, page 1 from here, I can just download it, and it downloads it as a video, which you can then upload. Now, I want to quickly jump back into my homepage. So as you can see in here, now in the recent designs, we've got our new Instagram post created. And what you would be able to do is to access it from the side in here in recent designs as well. Now, I want to make sure that I'm organizing everything correctly. So I will create another folder for myself. So I'll go to add new in here, add folder, and I'll say Instagram, just to be able to create that level of organization for myself. And what I could do from here, again, we're in the projects now. What I can do in here is to go to move to a folder. And from here, you can now see my new folder, Instagram, and I can just move it in this folder in here. And you can see that in this item, I now have this as well. Now, what I can do is to start that folder from here. And what's going to happen is that it will appear in my starred folders in here for very easy access. If you start a few of the most used ones, this is going to be very easily accessible from here. And the whole, again, designing process and finding things will be much, much easier. So this is where this section comes to life, really. And you can see that now very slowly our homepage is getting transformed, because we now have this favorite folder that we can access with one click. And we now can see the recent posts from here and in here as well. We also have our uploads as well in here, and we can change the name for them. So this is how you can see how everything in Canva comes to life the more you design as well. Now, what I want to show you is a social media reel. I want to create a reel for your Instagram. So I'm going to go to the social media section in here and then go to Instagram reel because it's always suggested. So I'll just click on it in here. And I want to show you how to create a video using Canva. Now, I will use a template for this one just for the sake of brevity. I don't want to spend too much time in here. But let's say I want to use something a little bit like this. And you can see that I applied it and it just literally created a little text for me in here. And it's just one clip. Now, imagine I want to add a little bit more. Now, I would be able to upload my own videos to my uploads in here, but I want to use the Canva assets from the library in here. So let's say I'll say Istanbul from here and go to videos. And now from here, using, I can use any of these images in here, any of these videos, but I want to make sure that I'm using the vertical images. So I'll filter any of those in here. As the names, again, we're trying to get good habits going. We'll say Instagram Reel, Turkey. So this is what I'm going to name it. And now I don't want just 11 seconds of this train going by. I want to make sure that it's snappier and that it's quicker. And then I'm going to add more frames to it. Now, the way you do it with a video is to actually just add a page like this. And I can go for something a little bit like this. This is a beautiful Galata Tower. If you've ever been to Turkey or if you're from Turkey or You're very lucky because it's a beautiful city, Istanbul. Of course, I'm talking Turkey, but you could be living anywhere else in Ankara or in Eskişehir or anywhere else. Never mind, I'm rambling. But this is how you add your new clips to the design. So I'll just add another page, as you can see. So I clicked add a page in here. I'll stick with the ones that are not pro. So I'll just stretch it out. Ooh, I actually cropped it a little bit. It doesn't matter. I can fill it in like this. Now I will make sure that I'm turning the volume down just because I don't want to break up my presentation in here. But you can see in here that's going on a little bit too long. So when I added this one, it actually shows 12 seconds. I definitely want my reel to be much snappier. So what you can do is to actually go to the side and you can see that this panel appears and I can just make it much shorter and it indicates how long this clip is. So let's say I want 3 seconds for this one. So you've got something like this in here. Now, but what if I don't want this particular part? Now, videos in Canva also behave a little differently. So I've shown you the images. I've shown you how the shapes work. The same goes for the videos. They will work a little differently as well. So at the very top, you've got the edit and you can also adjust. So you've got the same options as you would with a photo. You can change the warmth. You can change the tint. I actually can add a little bit more for warmth for this one and maybe a bit more contrast in here. I really love the fact that you can really adjust your videos to your liking. And here you can also add filters from here, as I've mentioned, just like you would before, but you also have the option to change the volume. So again, as you remember, I've just muted this clip just so it doesn't interfere with me talking over it. So you can just change the volume in here. You can make it lower or higher, but I will just completely remove it. You can also change the video speed. So if you wanted this to play faster, you would be able to do it in here, and also play on repeat, and play automatically. Both of them really pertain to when you're using videos in your presentations. And imagine you're changing one slide to another. You want to have that control over whether the video keeps playing, especially if it's something like 3 seconds, or if it plays automatically as well. So these options are really for presentations mostly. Now, the second thing is our trim, and this is what I want to pay attention to. So as you can see, our video is much longer, but I trimmed it to 3 seconds. You would be able to trim it from here as well. I can also drag this part, and that will select the different parts of the video for me. So I would be able to just use it like this, and I will just trim it to the front. Apart from that, we've got our audio again, as I've mentioned, then the playback. So again, same options. They're accessible through edit, but they're also accessible in here for easy use. You can crop, you can flip. So these things are the same as before. Now, we've got these 3 clips in here. If I just grab one video in here and just drag it onto my timeline in here, it just gets added to it. So I can just crop it from here just like that, and maybe then drag into the trim mode and just change to a different part. Maybe I want that to go a little bit through that depth of field. As you can see, that it goes a little bit like that. Yeah, exactly what I wanted. So I just grabbed this particular moment, right? So we've got these options. Now imagine I don't actually like this one because it just stands out from the others. Now what I can do is to delete the one below and actually set this video as a background, and maybe this vibe will go a little bit better for me, and I can just make it 3 seconds as well. So this is what it looks like for me at the moment. And now I want to show you a few other things. So these are just going quite snappy and quite nice, but how was this text created with this template, right? Because remember, I've used a template from the design tab in here. Now, of course, it was used with the animations. So these are actually elements from the Canva library. Now, if you're ever unsure about where something came from, especially when you're using different templates, what you can do is to right click on a specific element and go to info. Now that I go to info, you can see that it was created by Chelsea Gonzalez from Trendify. So if I click on it, you'll be able to see Trendify, and you can see all the different kind of photos and videos and shapes. So you can see that I've identified all the different elements that were used to create this. And of course, there are obviously other keywords in here as well. So if I go for eco-friendly or go green or Zine maybe, let's see if I can see Zine. Yeah, amazing. You can see more of where that came from, which can help you create more of that vibe as well. So if you're ever unsure, again, where that specific element came from, this is how you can inspect it. So again, you right click on it and then you go to info, and this is how you find it. Now, as you can see in here, I've shown you how to trim, but you can also split clips as well. So if I right click on a timeline, I select a specific place and then I right click, I can also split the page. So you can see now it created 2 separate clips from this particular element. At any point, I can also reposition these clips. So let's say maybe this is, I prefer this to go a little early, transportation next to transportation. I can just drag and drop it on my timeline. And this is how easy it is to just change the positioning of the clips as well. Another thing is adding transitions. So in Canva, you can actually add transitions. Now you can just go through color wipe, you can dissolve it, you can slide it, you can line wipe. So this is quite a cool feature if you want more of that creativity with your reels. You can just add it and then you can apply between all pages. I can just change the duration in seconds. Let's say I want that to last 1 second and then apply between all the pages. And now I have transitions for all of them and they just melt into each other. Now, would I use it for this particular style of a reel? Absolutely not. But know that these are here and these are available. What you can do with videos is that you can select timing for the elements. So if I select all of them in here and I can go to show element timing when right clicking, you can see that I now see them all on the timeline. And you can see that they were all added at the very top, but using the scrapbook animation. So all of them were animated using this particular scrapbook style. But if I wanted to now change it to neon maybe, or to, stomp, you can see that it just gets stomped in here. You can change it to pop. So I'm just doing it like this. You can change the positioning like this. If you wanted to add a bit of text in here to make it a little bit more immersive, you absolutely can. So you can do the same thing for all of your graphics, all of your videos as well. And I can go to graphics. And of course, I would have to say maybe something like flag. I'll go for animated. Do we have any animated? Yeah, absolutely. So maybe something like this. You would be able to just add to your graphic and then maybe have it appear. So as you can see, just because I enabled this show element timing, it now appears for me. So I can maybe shorten it and make it appear at a certain moment. And I can also make it pop or maybe blur it in. Now that I preview it on the timeline, you can see that it now appears. And it's still a movable kind of element in here as well. So it's quite a cool thing that with video, you can do a lot of what you would be able to do with graphics as well. Then you can go to share in here and download, of course. And because it's a video, of course, you want to download it as an MP4 video. And of course, at any point, you would be able to choose which pages you want to incorporate into that reel. Because sometimes you just feel like, you know what, it's too long. I don't want that last one. And you can always shorten it this way as well. So it's quite a cool thing. And you can just hit download from here and your reel is ready. And now we're ready to go into Canva Pro. Now, again, highly recommend you check out the link in the description, which gives you full Canva Pro for 30 days for free. So it's natalia.link/Canva. If I go to this URL, you can see that you can start your free pro trial in here, just like that. And now if you click on it, what happens in here is to choose a plan. So you go for monthly or yearly. I'm going to go for yearly in this case and then go to next. Now you can see the preview in here. Today, free trial for 30 days, cancel anytime. Then January 7th, 2025, you will send a reminder 7 days before. And then January 14th, I would be charged fully. Now, the way it works with Canva is that you need to enter your card details. I don't like the fact that you have to enter card details for a free trial. However, this is how it works with so many different apps at the moment. You choose your payment method, you add it to your account, and again, they'll send you a reminder. You can cancel at any point. You will not be charged if you cancel before the 30 days run out. So please make sure that if you don't want to stick with Pro, that you do cancel it before. So get your free trial through here. this is what you can do now, and I'll show you what Canva Pro does for you. Amazing. So we've got this particular design in here, and there were some elements that I've used. Of course, apart from the amazing templates, amazing elements, and the blanket that you've got in here, there are so many different options in Canva Pro that actually make it worth your while. So first of all, what you can now notice is that the resize option is no longer highlighted in yellow. You no longer have the prompt to upgrade to Canva Pro. It's all much more cleaner and simpler just because you already have a Pro in your account. You can see in here that if I go to party in here and the elements, now everything is available to me. So the premium image is included with your Canva Teams plan because I'm on Canva Teams, but on Pro, as you can see, it just no longer gets highlighted as a yellow. One of the most beloved features of Canva is actually the background remover. So what it does is that with one click, if you select an image, you can just click, Canva analyzes it, and it removes the background seamlessly for you. This is such an incredible option, and everyone absolutely loves this feature because one, it's so good, and also is so useful. So now what I could do is to create something a little bit more funky with this glow, with this outline. So let's go to outline in here. I'll size it up like this, and you can see that from here I actually used something a little bit more like that. I don't have the hex code copied, but let's say this is kind of close enough, so you can see that this is how I created this effect. And now what I can do is to actually go to background remover for video, and this will do the same thing for me. So this is such a cool option that I can actually do this, and I can show you a fun effect that it does with it. So I'll just get the background remover off of it in here. Now what I can do is to add text. So don't mind the disaligned thing just because it's a preview. So when you play one element and you stop it, just not on the timeline, but actually just as this element in here. As you can see, if I played this one and played this one, these will now be misaligned. So just bear with me with this one. Let's say vibes. I don't know why vibes are a thing for today's video. This is my hyperfixation I can see. So I could just add vibes in here, maybe change the color a little bit to something a little different, maybe like this. And I can now place it beyond my subject. And you can see in here that if I just play it, I now have this effect. What I could do in here is to actually just animate this text as well. So I could go for typewriter, and now if I play it, you can see that it just appears behind that person. So one, we've got a background remover for images. Two, we've got background remover for videos as well. Insanity. Now I want to show you what you can do with the different images as well. So say I've got a photo that I really like. Let's say this one is really cool, but it doesn't go all the way to the side in here. So what I can do is to go to edit and actually use all the amazing Magic Studio features in here, which are fantastic. The one that I use probably the most is actually Magic Expand, because very often as content creators, we just need a bit of that extra space of an image to fill it completely. And I can just click expand. Now Canva will analyze this image and actually expand it for me to fill the whole background. And this way I will be able to fit a lot more text and a lot more of that kind of, elements or anything else that I want to incorporate in my design in here. So you can see that it just keeps working a little bit. Obviously with any AI feature, it's going to take a little bit more time, especially that with the majority of the AI features in Canva, they actually give you 4 different options. I've got this one, this one, this one, and this one. For some reason, it imagined a leg in here instead of, I'm not sure if it's a hand or something. It's a funny little artifact. But let's say this is something that I would be happy with. I would not with this one, but you know what I mean. Let me show you something like this. I can go to, again, Magic Expand again. I can select whole page because I want to expand it to the whole page and see what it does. Of course, as with any AI options, they're not that great with faces, with hands and feet and things like that. That's why artifacts like this really do happen from time to time. However, I found that it's getting consistently better and better. You can see in here that it just actually got the finger on the first one, it got the finger all right. Then on the second one, it's not the greatest, but you can see that it keeps getting better. So I could use something like this in here, and I would be able to then fill it with text, maybe creatively around it in here, and have something a little bit more funky. So this is our Magic Expand, which is also a pro feature. Now imagine I want to change the color of this skirt, change it to a navy skirt, let's say. And voila, you can see that it just changed not only the color, but sometimes a little bit of shape as well of the skirt in here. And it just, completely changed it for me. And if I wanted to use that one, I can. And I absolutely love the fact that with Magic Edit, you can do things like this. You could also just select something else and create, I can brush something in here, and maybe I want to add a navy blue butterfly, and let's generate. And I've got different options. Of course, I would be able to then make it smaller and bigger, generate again using a smaller palette. I think I've used too big of a brush in here, but this is available and you would be able to use it with Canva Pro as well. And now what I want to do is to actually just grab the person from the image. So I could just click on this, click grab, and what will happen is that not only will Canva separate this person from the background, of course, it doesn't have to be a person, it can be a dog, it can be anything else. I now will have this person available to me for kind of dragging and moving around. So if I want to reposition and have her sit somewhere else, it's possible because AI understood what should be underneath and just filled that void for me that was created after I grabbed that person from here. So this is a Magic Grab. Of course, we also have Magic Eraser as well, which means that I can erase anything from here. There's Grab Text. So these are amazing features that are really very useful to people who are content creators and also small business owners as well, for a more creative approach as well. Apart from that, well, I cannot not mention brand kits and brand templates. When you've got Canva Pro, all of your assets are organized within one place for easy access for your color palettes, your logos, your graphics. You can see in here, this is my own brand kit. You can see that I've got so many different palettes, even my old palettes in here. I've got my fonts set up in here. I've got my assets in here, my graphics. So anything that I really want to use very often, I would be able to access from my own brand kit. You can see that I've got it in here, and I actually have multiple different brand kits for my clients as well. And this is how easy it is to actually use it. So I would be able to just click on something like this and just very quickly add it to my design like that. And this is how easy and accessible all of my assets are. I would be able to also shuffle my palette just like that to instantly apply my colors to the brand that I've created. So say I want to change this up, let's say maybe this one, I can just apply my palette in here and it just changes things up, which is so useful. Same goes for my fonts. I can very quickly add my fonts in here or add my photos from here very quickly as well. So this is super cool. And this is why the brand kit is such a powerful tool within Canva, because it allows you to create very quickly on brand. Same goes for brand templates. Say I want to very quickly design one of my carousels. I actually have multiple different brand templates saved for my own brand, so that I can just jump in here and actually quickly apply this style, and I can just change the text, and this is me sorted. So this is how incredible Canva Pro is. There's also the content planner in here. So if you go to apps, if you go to content planner, you can actually schedule posts to go on your Instagram, for example. So if you design something, you can then very quickly just plug it into your Instagram or write a caption very quickly, and you would be able to just add it in here. You can add an event as well. So this is such a powerful thing. I definitely know that Canva Pro is really worth your while, because you get so much packed into this one product that is really, like, if you compare it to so many other subscriptions that you would have to get for the power that it holds, it really would be a bulky price that you would have to pay. But you only get it for $10.99 per month, or annually as well. It comes up to a smaller price as well. Now, there are so many other parts of Canva that I won't be able to cover fully, since this video would have 6, 7, 8 hours at least. And if you'd like me to create a tutorial like this for you on Canva presentation, questions on video editing in Canva, maybe whiteboards or anything else that you'd find useful, drop me a comment down below and let me know. Of course, you'll also learn much more about Canva for social media and business from my upcoming course, so sign up on the waitlist right now. Subscribe to my channel to continue your Canva journey, since I have so many useful tutorials on this channel here already, so check out this playlist right now. If you've stayed with me till this point, know how much I appreciate you for taking this time, so hit that like button and drop me "I got this" in the comments. I know that you're coming from here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.